So good afternoon once again. So welcome to this new topic. Once we have completed the first topic, water pollution in detail, I think so we have covered numericals as well as all the technical component in water pollution in detail, and all the numericals we have executed. And if you still have any problem in water pollution, you can always contact me for that. Now we're going to start with the second topic in this subject, that is the air pollution. Now air pollution, again, I think so this term is now most obvious to all of you, most obvious to all of you, most common to all of you. Like in your mobile, I think so I told you, you have an app called weather. So when you explore the weather app, ultimately you will find at the bottom of that app, you scroll down the air quality index. What is exactly the air quality index? I'll just let you know in the coming slides. Okay. So basically, once we have air pollution definition, I want to discuss these things in detail with you. Now, this is now I can say the most obvious part which is of concern worldwide: air pollution. And that's why the whole countries are sitting on a common platform. Whole countries, they are sitting on a common platform so that they can take care of their climate, air pollution, all kind of stuff. And if I'm going to definition, no doubt, but before the definition, I think so NCR people, they better know what is air pollution. Even Punjab, Haryana people, they can know what is air pollution. So thing is, water we have covered in detail. Now air, this is something without which you can't survive. Number one, but if the air is there, but that is contaminated, and how you can survive? This is something point of concern or discussion. So, as per WHO, the World Health Organization, the air pollution is a contamination of indoor and outdoor both environment by any chemical, physical, and biological agent. Chemical means you want to add some chemicals, okay? Sulfur dioxide, all kind of stuff, or VOC, volatile organic carbons. I want to show you, no doubt. And any physical. Physical means, again, I'm showing you coming slides. Solid particles. Solid particles. And the biological. Biological is something very important. Because of once a biological contamination is there with the air, everything is gone. And God grace, the coronavirus, the COVID-19 was not airborne. Otherwise, it could have like bad impacts. Because once it is airborne, yeah, ultimately it will have a more drastic effects. Moreover, it was airborne in the close vicinity where the patients are stabilized or patients are being kept. That is the corona wards. In that close vicinity, it was airborne because it was like it suspends with some other particles, and it attaches some certain particles, and that remain in a close vicinity. But there are many cases, there are many viruses, there are many bacteria, there are many pathogens who are airborne. You need to take care of those kind of things, because once it is airborne, so it is a part of air pollution. So air can travel anywhere. And once travel can anywhere, so it can replicate, divide in that air, so it can create what you cannot imagine once you talk about air pollution. So that's why we need to take care of air, because these contaminations, they modify the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. Okay. So natural characteristics क्या है उसकी बेटा? That is, you have a limited this and oxygen, this nitrogen, and some small fractions of other things. Now, if you release excess amount of chemicals, excess amount of physical compounds, excess amount of biological agents, you are not supposed to withstand all these changes. So household combustion devices, motor vehicles, industry facilities, these are the common sources of air pollution. Household combustion devices की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ बेटा. This household combustion generally when talks about like India, 70% population lives in rural areas. Now 70% of population lives in rural areas, and the 70% population, you know well, 90% of these they use open burning, open chulas. You might be knowing from your like villages. If you have village background, you can understand. Okay, they are using open chulas for burning. They hardly they use any LPG or all kind of stuff. So once you have open chulas, open burning is there, open cooking is there, then there are not there are possibilities. There are cases of incomplete combustion. Once you have incomplete combustion, monoxide is being formed, and this monoxide is much more dangerous. And this is one of the pollutant we want to talk about the atmosphere. This thing I want to discuss in coming slides. Now, as per EPA, EPA is highest environmental agency, that's called Environmental Protection Agency. EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency, US, and this is like a supreme agency. It's going to control all agencies throughout the world. So they go on fine. As per their definition, air pollution is one or more chemicals or substances, anything in high enough concentrations in air to harm humans, animals, vegetation, or materials. Okay, so these chemicals or pollutants which are being added in excess concentration are called air pollutants. So what are these air pollutants? What are their consequences? How we can mitigate those kind of things? I will discuss in detail in coming slides or coming lectures, so on. Okay, so this is something you need to study overall when talking about air pollution. You need to identify first the source of air pollution, sources of air pollution, then meteorology and topography factors going to affect. You know what is meteorological and topography factors? Now, meteorological parameters are, which we want to discuss later on also, but I want to just give you a glimpse of that. Meteorological parameters means you're talking about wind speed, wind direction, precipitation, pressure, all these kind of things. So all these things are going to affect the dispersion of the pollutant. Okay. So no doubt we're going to discuss this thing in details, and no doubt meteorology parameters, the topography means it's a plain or some mountains. So it all depends upon the topography also. Then these two parameters ultimately affect the air quality, and once the air quality is bad or good, it is going to affect the receptors, that's you ultimately. So our aim is to study all these kind of things before it can reach to the receptor, causing a harmful effects. So again, the same thing, which we had discussed earlier, before actually going into detail of any kind of case study, and sorry, any kind of pollution detail, we need to know about the disasters. Like the major disasters called national disaster, but it can be called a national international disasters, because the Bhopal gas tragedy was a bigger disaster and the cause of maximum deaths. It was like for, we can say, always for the air pollution. How? See, methyl isocyanate was released. Methyl isocyanate was released, and that once it was released, it mixed with air. Once it's mixed with air, now see, in the last slide I told you meteorological parameters. Now I'm going to explain what is meteorological parameters over here. Now, so suppose this is a population over here, and this is a green belt over here, and this is the industry, where the Bhopal gas tragedy occurred. Okay, now suppose at that particular day when the MIC was released, it all depends upon what was the wind speed and wind direction. By chance, on that day, the wind direction was towards the population. Wind direction was towards the population, and the speed was sufficient to take away the MIC vapors along with it. So once it was taking MIC vapors along with it, it is going to enter the populated area. So that's why maximum people died when they were sleeping. अगर उस दिन ये डायरेक्शन उल्टी होती, मेट्रोलॉजिकल पैरामीटर्स आ गया ना मैडम, जो समझाने वाला बेटा आपको, इसको डिटेल भी करेंगे हम. अगर डायरेक्शन उल्टी होती बेटा तो ये डिजास्टर इतना इंपैक्टफुल ना होता बेटा। क्यों? क्योंकि डायरेक्शन उल्टी होती तो ये आगे जाता, आगे बिल्कुल ग्रीन ग्रीन बेल्ट है और पॉपुलेशन बहुत कम है इसमें, तो यहाँ पे डायल्यूशन उसकी होती जाती, डायल्यूशन होते 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 एमएससी कंसंट्रेशन बहुत कम हो जाती। लेकिन जब विंड स्पीड इस साइड साइड पे थी तो इसकी डायल्यूशन होने से पहले, डायल्यूशन क्या होती है बेटा, देखो सीधी सी बात है, एयर यहां से रिलीज हुई, बहुत बड़े एटमॉस्फेयर में रिलीज हो गई, डायल्यूट हो गई, फिर आ गई, बहुत बड़े एटमॉस्फेयर में चलेगी, वो ब्लैंक है, वो डायल्यूट हो गई। दिस मीन्स एयर आगे आगे पास करती जा रही है और वो डायल्यूट होती जा रही है। लेकिन यहाँ पे विंड विंड स्पीड टुवर्ड्स पॉपुलेशन थी एंड डायल्यूशन होने से पहले ही उसने अपना इंपैक्ट दिखा दिया। सो and this is the most common example I'm talking about, air pollution disaster, national capital. So we have a national capital of India that's called, more proudly it's called asthma capital, and this is the worst city, polluted city as per the data available, which I'm going to show. And nowadays the Delhi air is so polluted that doctors themselves prevent going out, and they are saying that don't go for walk, don't go for running, don't go for all kind of stuff, outdoor activities, because the air is so much polluted. And in what way it is polluted, I'm going to discuss with you in detail. So this is something alarming data, right? I took this data right now. 5 or 6 days back, I got this data. This is 2020 data released by the index, that is most polluted cities in the world. And out of 10 major cities in the world, 9 rank goes to India. 9 rank goes to India. And see this, when I say the Kanpur, you have IIT over here. You have a Delhi, you have IIT over here. Greater Noida, you have many institutions over here. So in spite of so many prominent institutions, IITs, so these cities comes under the most polluted city in the world, not India, bache. And this was a data recently published a few days back. Out of total 10 most polluted city in the world, 9 goes to India. And I'm not taking this data, it's exact data, bache. So my concern is there's a huge gap between, again, huge gap between, you have a technology in place, you have technological students in place. In spite of that, we are lagging behind the implementation of the technology. So this is something I want to share with you. So once you open your mobile, go for a weather app. Once you scroll down, you will get a AQI for your locality. Like you are sitting at home, you can right now explore the AQI. So AQI is what? Is a air quality index. It's a combination of 6 parameters basically. So air quality is an overall scheme that transforms individual air pollutants like sulfur dioxide, monoxide, PM10, क्या है बताने वाला हूँ टाइम आपको भी, into a single number, which is a simple and lucid description of air quality of citizens. So instead of reporting multiple parameters like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, ammonia, lead, this one, the all the prominent parameters which are responsible for extreme air pollution are being clubbed into one single parameter. That the parameter is called air quality index, which you generally see always on your mobile phone. So whenever it's being quoted anywhere, when you see the media news, when you see everywhere, there's a single term called AQI, air quality index. The air quality index basically indication of few parameters which are assembled into one particular parameter, that's called air quality index. बता रहा हूँ इसके बारे में time. And you have a range, no doubt. 0 to 50 is good. And if you see your mobile phone, you can really tell me, nobody, I think so, there's a rarely anybody in the class who can say that's my air quality index is coming good. Either it's coming poor or it's coming very poor. It's very much dangerous, bache. It's too much dangerous. So AQI, air quality index, relates to health impacts and citizens can avoid unnecessarily exposure to air pollutants. So it's like prompt call for the citizen authorities to take quick actions. It's all always there. Okay. So AQI really encourage citizens to participate in the air quality management. That is very much required. See, these are health impacts. If air quality index is good, you have minimal impact, and if it's moderate, breathing discomfort can be there. But maximum of the times when you talk about your air quality index, you can always go through the mobile app. You are getting a poor, and concerns are starting from where when you're getting very poor. That is when stubble burning is there, when the heavy pollution is there. It's very poor. Very poor means it is very poor, beta. Okay, you have a respiratory illness to people prolonged exposure. Okay, so it can affect a lung, the cancer, lungs and cancer, heart disease also. And recently it reached severe category also. This is emergency, bache. Okay, it especially happens when in Delhi or NCR you have Diwali festival also, and same time burning happens. So you have lot of fumes from the burning of crackers, and you have from the burning of straw, food, crop residue. And that time it sometimes, most of the time, it comes to severe category. And I think so Delhiites can tell you better about what is air quality index, what is air pollutions. Because most of my students, early students, they used to say me, sir, when we go to the Diwali break, हम घर से बाहर निकलते ही नहीं है, घर में ही रहते हैं. And now every household atom who can afford in the Delhi is going for air filters, air purifiers. See this? Now what I'm saying, that I explained this in class also. For water, we are dependent upon water purifiers. For air, we are dependent upon air purifiers. Just imagine where we are going and how the future generations are going to survive in this atmosphere. So that's why the technological intervention is very much required, Bajreen. You people can go on the changes. You people can show some changes. Okay. Now see this, beta, all of you. Now, which are the pollutants that are considered for air quality index, air quality standards? Okay. So things I have explained to you. Now go through this. So these are the pollutants which are being considered for making a one parameter that is called AQI, air quality index. Those parameters are SO2, NO2. ये अभी बता रहा हूँ PM क्या होता है बेटा, अभी बता रहा हूँ, नीचे लिखा हुआ है. Ozone, monoxide, lead, ammonia. Now, first of all, this ozone. But this ozone is not same ozone as you find in stratosphere, which are absorbing UV radiations. Not at all. This is ground level ozone. This is called ground level ozone, and it's much more dangerous. Okay, so then PM 2.5 and PM 10. ये क्या है? This particulate matter. What is particulate matter, बेटा? अब आगे बताने वाला हूँ, टाइम आपको स्लाइड्स में आने वाला है. Particulate matter is a fine dust particles, बेटे. Unburned comma particles, soot particles, very fine particles which are present in the air. So these particles can be of two categories, basically two categories, PM10 and PM 2.5, जो universally quote होते हैं बच्चे. PM10 is a particulate matter of less than 10 micrometer in size. So PM10 is a particulate matter suspended in the air having size less than 10 micrometer. So these sizes generally are not visible with the naked eye. So to give you the most prompt example, or like obvious example of what is PM 2.5, आप अपने घर में देखो बेटा, अभी घर में बैठे हो, सभी देखना जरा. सुबह बिल्कुल सफाई वगैरह हो जाती है, मेड आ गई है, झाड़ू पोछा हो गया, सब कुछ हो गया बेटा. ओके, Now, after 1 hour, you notice that on dining table or center table or your bed or somewhere, you will find again a dust layer which is settling down. और आप सोचोगे वो डस्ट लेयर कहाँ से आ गई? That dust layer is just because that PM was present in the air. Particular matter was present in the air. PM, particular matter was in the air. अब imagine करो these PM 2.5 or 10 which are not visible to naked eye, but they are there because which you when you notice the clean layer of dust on surface, dining table, center table, somewhere else, you can well imagine that these dust particles are present in the air. So अब सोचो कि हम दिन में कितना इनहेल कर रहे हैं उनको बेटा. How much we are inhaling? Okay. Now, third is PM 2.5. PM 2.5 is a subset of PM 10 basically. It's a very fine. So it's a particular matter of less than 2.5 millimeter in diameter. But 2.5 is much more dangerous. So there are certain activities, industrial activities, which generates a very fine particulate matter. If released as such, it can create many problems like this. What I'm explaining to you, PM10 means this, PM2.5 this, PM1 is very rare to find, but it is there. It means particle size less than 1 micrometer. So if you are having coarse particles with PM10, they can be easily inhaled. And once you have PM2.5, which is a major concern for air pollution, it can lost to your lungs. And once they are lost to your lungs, no doubt lungs functioning will be affected and you will be gone. And if by chance certain activities which I'm going to discuss, you have PM1, so they can really diffuse to your blood. They are ultra fine. They can diffuse to your blood and it can cause many diseases once you have these kind of particulate matter, because once the contamination there is in the blood, its ability to free flow in the veins will be affected. Once it's being affected, you know what will happen. So there are many cases, many cases, bache. Now, see this now, all of you. Go through very once, then I'm going to go through once. I'm going to explain you all these things. Thanks. Now, this is air quality categories and the range. So now, say these are the categories and a breakpoint concentration with averaging times. So you have PM10, explained to you, PM10, 2.5 explained to you, nitrogen, NO2, nitrogen oxide explained to you, oxygen or explained to you. So this is averaging time beta, range 24 hours. अभी होता क्या है मैं एक्सप्लेन कर दूं बेटा. अब आपको सपोज नाइट्रोजन मेजर करनी है, कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड मेजर करनी है इनके बीच में. So see this carbon monoxide, it's 8 hour. Why SO2 is 24 hour? Why ammonia is 24 hour? बेटा अभी एक्टिविटीज के बेस में है. So SO2 लेना चाह रहा हूँ. SO2 रिलीज कहां से होती है बेटा? वाइक्यूलर मिशन से होती है, नंबर 1. इंडस्ट्रियल मिशन से होती है, नंबर 2. ओके. अब ये वाइक्यूलर मिशन और इंडस्ट्रीज दिन रात चलती रहेंगी बच्चे. तो दिन रात चलती रहेंगी, तो जो सैंपल मैंने दिन में लिया 10 बजे, दैट मे नॉट रिप्रेजेंट टू पिक्चर. और 11 बजे और एक्टिविटी हो गई है, 12 बजे और एक्टिविटी शुरू हो गई है इंडस्ट्री की. तो पता नहीं इंडस्ट्री का किस टाइम पे और वाइक्यूलर मिशन में किस टाइम पे एक्टिविटी ज्यादा और कम है. जैसे मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ, सुबह 6 से 9 तक आपका वाइक्यूलर मिशन कम होता है, 6 से 9 से लेके 12 बजे तक ज्यादा होगा, 12 से 3 बजे तक फिर कम होगा, 4 बजे का फिर वाइक्यूलर मिशन ज्यादा हो जाएगा बिकॉज आपका ऑफ हो गया ऑफिस. ओके. सो यू नीड टू टेक दिस पॉइंट इनटू कंसीडरेशन कि किस टाइम पे कम होगा, किस टाइम पे ज्यादा होगा, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग को ज्यादा लेना पड़ेगा. तो यू हैव टू डू फॉर 24 आवर सैंपलिंग. ओके. 24 hour sampling. So accordingly these parameters are decided. कि CO2 कहां से रिलीज होगी बच्चे? CO2 मैक्सिमम रिलीज होती है जो बर्निंग एक्टिविटी, ओपन बर्निंग एक्टिविटीज में. ओके. ओपन बर्निंग एक्टिविटी मींस चूल्हास. तो उसमें मोस्टली वो 800 टाइम क्यों लिया हमने? बिकॉज नॉर्मली दे स्टार्ट फ्रॉम लाइक 8 to in the evening. Okay, so they can take that particular point also. तो जहाँ पे देख लेते हैं, जैसे गांव में क्या होता है, दिन में 2 बार खाना बनता है, तो मैक्सिमम पोल्यूशन इसी होगा, वहीं पे आएगा बेटे उस चीज के लिए. So they take this point in consideration so that the average value can be quoted. So it's not like that you take a value of air, a sample of air, and get the value of ammonia, get the value of lead, get the value of SO2. It's wrong, beta. It's wrong. अच्छा, ओजोन की वैल्यू पे स्टार क्यों लगा हुआ है बेटे? बेटा दिस इज स्टार इज देयर बिकॉज उसकी हाई रेंज नहीं है, ये दिस द हाईएस्ट रेंज बच्चे. ओके, ऑल ऑलरेडी इट इज द हाईएस्ट रेंज. उसके बाद हमारे पास वैल्यू नहीं है उसके बाद उसकी. इसके बाद तो बिल्कुल डेडली डेड है वो हमारे लिए हर चीज को, क्योंकि ओजोन इस लेवल की है कि वो ऑक्सीजन जो ग्राउंड ग्राउंड पे ऑक्सीजन है उसको पूरी ऑक्सीडाइज कर देगी, कंज्यूम कर लेगी. तो अगर ओजोन बन गई ना ग्राउंड लेवल पे, इसको बोलते हैं ग्राउंड लेवल ओजोन, अगर बन गई ना बेटा, तो ये पूरे ग्राउंड लेवल की ऑक्सीजन को कंज्यूम कर जाएगी, तो आपके पास रेस्पिरेशन के लिए ऑक्सीजन नहीं बचेगी. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी नीड टू टेक केयर अबाउट दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. आई वांट टू शो यू, नो डाउट. So I think so. I have explained to you this fundamental, and you must take this particular point in consideration. And please, you need not to cram these kind of things. I'm not going to ask these things. Kitni value exam mein. Not at all. Not required at all. Just know कि averaging time क्या होता है बच्चे. Okay? और बाकी जो मुझे छोटे छोटे फंडे बताए मैंने आपको, वो दिमाग में रखना बस आप. So I've explained to you air pollution disasters before actually. So in this lecture, so in this air pollution also, not lecture, in this air pollution also, we are going to go for technical detail also. With time हम टेक्निकल में घुसेंगे, डिजाइन में घुसेंगे, न्यूमेरिकल्स में घुसेंगे. तो पहले आपकी बेसिक्स क्लियर कर रहे हैं सारे इसके बारे में. सो दिस एयर पोल्यूशन डिजास्टर पंजाब, यू नो पंजाब एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स. अभी जो पंजाब वाले बैठे भी हैं ना बच्चे, मेरे से लेक्चर सुन रहे हैं जो अब जितने भी हैं, they can scroll down your weather app and they can see that's very poor again poor, unhealthy. Always you see unhealthy and poor. Okay, because the air quality index is very bad, and especially ahead of Diwali and before after Diwali it's very bad. And again the RSPM is nothing but it's a particular matter being known as a respirable suspended particulate matter, which we can respire. It has crossed a permissible limit, and no doubt the major challenge for Punjab is always is the burning of stubble. And you know what happens when stubble burning is happening. You can't even think of breathing in that air. You are surviving, this means you are master. You know exactly. The burning of stubble can cause you the silent death. और ये भी हो सकता है कि आप रात को सोओ, सुबह उठो ही ना. क्यों? ये होता था, आपने प्लस 2 में पढ़ा होगा, 10th में पढ़ा होगा. गांव के लोग क्या करते थे, विंटर्स के अंदर अपने रूम को थोड़ा वार्म करने के लिए अंदर ना एक चूल्हा ऑन कर लेते थे. चूल्हा, उस चूल्हे में आप आग लगाई और उसके आग बुझ गई और वो अंदर रख लिया. ये मैक्सिमम केस रिपोर्ट हुए हैं ये चीजों की. जैसे अंदर रखा, उसके अंदर गर्मी तो कर दी, लेकिन वो उसके बीच में से जो कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड निकलनी शुरू हो गई. रूम क्लोज्ड है, मोनोऑक्साइड निकलनी शुरू हो गई, तो कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड इज गोइंग टू टेक द ऑक्सीजन फ्रॉम द एयर विच इज प्रेजेंट इन द रूम. तो जो आपको चाहिए रेस्पिरेशन के लिए ऑक्सीजन कम हो गई. सो इट्स अ साइलेंट किलर, इट्स अ साइलेंट डेथ. तो पता लगता है कि सुबह बंदे उठे ही नहीं है. तो ये रिसेंटली जब हुआ था, ये हर साल हो रहा है बेटा स्टबल बर्निंग. तो जब डाटा है मेरे पास, तो मैंने डाटा देखा तो CO2 लेवल इतना ज्यादा था, CO2 लेवल इतना ज्यादा था कि आप रात को सो गए हैं तो सुबह उठे नहीं. तो मैंने स्पेसिफिकली जो CO डाटा देख के मैंने बोल दिया घर के दरवाजे खोल दो, सारे बंद नहीं करने. क्योंकि जब आप पूरे डोर्स ओपन अप कर दोगे ना, तो फ्रेश एयर आती जाएगी, फ्रेश एयर निकलती जाएगी. धुआं आने दो, कोई चक्कर नहीं है. लेकिन बंद कर दोगे आप सभी दरवाजे घर के, नहीं भी धुआं आ रहा है, अरे भाई जो अंदर की ऑक्सीजन है वो कंज्यूम कर रहा है CO2, क्यों CO2 घर में एंटर कर चुकी है, स्टबल बर्निंग के जो फ्यूम्स आ रहे हैं. So alarmingly high situation beta, you need to take care of these kind of things. Technology intervention is very much required. अभी बोल रहा हूं आपको बेटा, technology intervention is very much required, and that's why. Okay. Now, so once you need to have a technological intervention, you must be knowing what are the classification of air pollutants. Before knowing what are the pollutants, how they are behaving, what are their role, how they are formed, in what way they are formed, you cannot go for any technical interventions. So classification of air pollutant, when talk about, there are two type of pollutants, primary and secondary. So see, diagrams with you, and primary pollutants are those when released, they pose health risk in their unmodified forms. That means they are emitted directly from the identifiable sources. Like, see this, monoxide, sulfur dioxide, ammonia, nitrogen, these are primary pollutants. Even VOC also. You know what is VOC? Volatile organic carbons. You know what is volatile organic carbons? I want to explain you in one line. Volatile organic carbons means like when you bring a paint box, पेंट करने के लिए घर में डब्बा लेके आते हो ना बेटा, ध्यान से देखना, जैसे डब्बा खोल के आप रखते हो, विद इन 5 और 10 मिनट्स आपको आपके दूसरे बेडरूम में फ्रेग्रेंस आएगी. फ्रेग्रेंस क्या है? स्मेल आएगी एक. वो क्या है? वीओसी. ये वीओसी होते हैं इसके बीच में, वोलेटाइल ऑर्गेनिक कार्बन्स, जो लो टेम्परेचर पे भी वोलेटाइज हो जाते हैं. तभी जब फ्रेश पेंट होता है, आपको पता है कितने महीने, कितने वीक्स तक उस रूम में स्मेल नहीं जाती. दैट इज दे आर इमिटिंग द वीओसीज. Okay. So these are our primary pollutants. And secondary pollutants, which are much more dangerous. Why? Because the primary pollutants, when they interact with each other in the presence of some certain components, sunlight, temperature, moisture, all kind of stuff, they form a secondary product. And these secondary products or new products are very harmful. See, secondary pollutants, from sulfur and oxygen, they form sulfur trioxide. Ammonia, water, they form nitric acid. So SO2, water forms sulfuric acid. So ozone, see this ozone is being formed. Okay. So I'm saying that secondary pollutants are formed from the interaction of 2 or 3 primary pollutants under suitable condition, like presence of sunlight, temperature, all kind of stuff. So these secondary pollutants are much more dangerous, like acid rain. You might have read acid rain. This acid rain is much more dangerous. Because you never know कहाँ फॉर्म हुई है, किससे फॉर्म हुई है, कहाँ फॉर्म हुई है, कुछ नहीं पता. लेकिन एक इंडस्ट्री जो SO2 रिलीज कर ली है, तो वहां तो जाके हम चेक कर सकते हैं ना, ये SO2 रिलीज हो रही है, वही ये हार्म करेगी. ओके. तो वी हैव like vehicular pollution is in something very dangerous. It's moving source. It's moving source. It's difficult to identify. तो ये सब चीजें हैं बेटा जो हम बात करते हैं, लेकिन व्हीकल एग्जॉस्ट पे कंट्रोल लगा सकते हैं, नो डाउट इस चीजों के लिए. So that's why you need to have again the technical components in place so that you can really pinpoint yes what is happening, what is not happening, and how we can get rid of, what are the technological solutions for that. Okay. So I'm going to cover this, and after that I can stop. I can take your doubts. Okay. सो प्राइमरी पोल्यूटेंट की क्लासिफिकेशन में थोड़ा डिटेल करने वाले हैं, फिर आगे मूव कर जाएंगे फटाफट बच्चे. प्राइमरी पोल्यूटेंट्स की बात कर रहा हूं अगर मैं, तो फर्स्ट इज सस्पेंडेड पर्टिकुलेट मैटर. आई टोल्ड यू what are those, but again you can read again. So particulate matter is the airborne particles, a different size. I told you 10, 2.5, 1. Okay. And they can vary in chemical composition also depending upon where they are being released. So it's one of the 6 EPA criteria pollutant, environmental protection agency criteria pollutants. Yes or not? I told you these are the 6, but one is PM. So what is this? It consists of solids in air in the form of smoke, in the smoke form of dust, in the form of vapor. And there's a bad part that they can keep suspended in the air or the atmosphere for the extended periods of time. So this is going to produce haze with reduced visibility. So once you are having the finer these particles, more finer the particles, they can breathe in and they can lodge your lungs, which can cause the lung damage. So this is what I'm talking about, better air pollution. And no doubt These are the things which are of primary importance when talking about the air pollutants. You need to take care of these things. Otherwise, we are not bothering. And where we are bothering, जो मैं आपको बात बच्चों को बात शेयर करता हूँ ये चीज के बारे में. कोविड-19 का केस हुआ बच्चे almost a year back. अब ये देख लो कि with the best technologies we are reaching NASA. With the best technology we are reaching Mars. Sorry, not NASA, Mars. With best technology we are finding a suitable place on Moon. But not a single technology was able to get rid of this air pollutant or some, not air pollutant, this pollutant that's called COVID. So whole world come to standstill. All the mechanical engineers, all the chemical engineers, electronic computer engineers, they are locked. See the impact of what I'm saying there. So, miss, we are not bothered when the problem started, a problem is starting. But we are ready to spend billion of dollars once it reached to the alarming level. Okay, so I think so. I should stop here.